Morning, everyone. I'm sure you recognise this character behind me. Yep, it's Horrid Henry, and I'm pretty certain quite a lot of you will have already read some Horrid Henry books. I love Horrid Henry. I think most people do. So I'm just going to read a little extract from one of my favourite stories, which is Horrid Henry Wakes the Dead. And I'm just going to read chapter 1, and if you like it, have a read through and let me know what you think about it. Okay, draw some pictures from it. Okay, let me know what you think about Horrid Henry and who's your favourite character, anything like that. I love reading things like that. Okay, here we go. Horrid Henry and the TV remote. Horrid Henry pushed through the front door. Perfect Peter squeezed past him and ran inside. "Hey!" screamed Horrid Henry, dashing after him. "Get back here, worm!" "No!" squealed Perfect Peter, running as fast as his little legs would carry him. Henry grabbed Peter's shirt, then hurtled past him into the sitting room. Yippee! He was going to get the comfy black chair first. Almost there, almost there, almost. And then Horrid Henry skidded on a sock and slipped. Peter pounded past and dived onto the comfy black chair. Panting and gasping, he snatched the remote control. Click. "All together now. Who's a silly Billy?" trilled the world's most annoying goat. "Billy!" sang out Perfect Peter. No! It had happened again. Just as Henry was looking forward to resting his weary bones on the comfy black chair after another long, hard, terrible day at school and watching Rapper Zapper and Night Flight, Peter had somehow managed to nab the chair first. It was so unfair. The rule in Henry's house was that whoever was sitting in the comfy black chair decided what to watch on TV. And there was Peter, smiling and singing along with Silly Billy, the revolting singing goat who thought he was a clown. Henry's parents were so mean and horrible, they only had one teeny tiny telly in the whole entire house. It was so minuscule, Henry practically had to watch it using a magnifying glass. And so old, you practically had to kick it to turn it on. Everyone else he knew had loads of TVs. Rude Ralph had 5 ginormous ones all to himself. At least that's what Ralph said. All too often there were at least 2 great programmes on at the same time. How was Henry supposed to choose between Mutant Max and Terminator Gladiator? If only he could watch 2 TVs simultaneously, wouldn't life be wonderful? Even worse, Mum, Dad and Peter had their own smelly programmes they wanted to watch. And not great programmes like Hog House and Gross Out. Oh no, Mum and Dad like watching news, documentaries, opera. Perfect Peter liked nature programmes and revolting baby programmes like Daffy and Her Dancing Daisies. Ugh! How did he end up in this family? When would his real parents, the king and queen, come and fetch him and take him to the palace where he could watch whatever he wanted all day? When he grew up and became King Henry the Horrible, he'd have 3 TVs in every room, including the bathrooms. But until that happy day, he was stuck at home slugging it out with Peter. He could spend the afternoon watching Silly Billy, Cooking Cuties and Sammy the Snail. Or Horrid Henry pounced and snatched the remote. Click, and the Black Knight lowers his visor. "Give it to me!" shrieked Peter. "No," said Henry. "But I've got the chair," wailed Peter. "So," said Henry, waving the clicker at him, "if you want the remote, you'll have to come and get it." Peter hesitated. Henry dangled the remote just out of reach. Perfect Peter slipped off the comfy black chair and grabbed for the remote. Horrid Henry ducked, swerved, and jumped onto the empty chair. And the knights were advancing towards one another, lances poised. "Mom!" squealed Peter. "Henry snatched the remote." "Did not." "Did too." "Did not, Wibblepants." "Don't call me Wibblepants," cried Peter. "Okay, Pongy Poo Poo," said Henry. "Don't call me Pongy Poo Poo," shrieked Peter. "Okay, Wibble Bibble," said Horrid Henry. "Mom!" wailed Peter. "Henry's calling me names." "Henry, stop being horrid," shouted Mum. "I'm just trying to watch TV in peace," screamed Henry. "Peter's annoying me." "Henry's annoying me," whined Peter. "He pushed me off the chair." Liar, said Henry, you fell off. Mum! Screamed Peter. Mum ran in and grabbed the remote. Click, the screen went black. I've had it with you boys fighting over the TV, shouted Mum. No TV for the rest of the day. What? Huh? But, said Perfect Peter. But, said Horrid Henry. No buts, said Mum. It's not fair, wailed Henry and Peter. Horrid Henry paced up and down his room, whacking his teddy Mr. Kill on the bedpost every time he walked past. Whack, whack, whack. He had to find a way to make sure he watched the programmes he wanted to watch. He just had to. He'd have to get up at the crack of dawn. There was no other way. Unless... And then Horrid Henry had a brilliant, spectacular idea. What an idiot he'd been. All those months he'd missed his fantastic shows. Well, never, ever again. Sneak, sneak, sneak. It was the middle of the night. Horrid Henry crept down the stairs as quietly as he could and tiptoed into the sitting room, shutting the door behind him. There was the TV, grumbling in the corner. Why's no one watching me? Moaned the telly. Come on, Henry. But for once, Henry didn't listen. He had something much more important to do. He crept to the comfy black chair and fumbled in the dark. Now, where was the remote? There it was. As usual, it had fallen between the seat cushion and the armrest. Henry grabbed it. Quick as a flash, he switched the TV over to the channel for Rapper Zapper, Talent Tigers and Hog House. Then he tiptoed to the toy cupboard and hid the remote control deep inside a bucket of multicoloured bricks that nobody played with for years. Hee, thought Horrid Henry. Why should he have to get up to grab the comfy black chair hours before his programme started, when he could have a lovely lie-in, saunter downstairs whenever he felt like it, and be master of the TV? Whoever was sitting in the chair could be in charge of the telly all they wanted. But without the TV remote, no one would be watching anything. Perfect Peter stretched out on the comfy black chair. Oh, hooray! Serve Henry right for being so mean to him. Peter had got downstairs first. Now he could watch what he wanted all morning. Peter reached for the remote control. Wasn't on the armrest. Wasn't on the headrest. Had it slipped between the armrest and the cushion? No. Felt round the back? No. Looked under the chair? Nothing. He looked behind the chair. Where was it? Horrid Henry strolled into the sitting room. Peter clutched tightly onto the armrests in case Henry tried to push him off. I got the comfy black chair first, said Peter. Okay, said Horrid Henry, sitting down on the sofa. So let's watch something. Peter looked at Henry suspiciously. Where's the remote? Said Peter. I don't know, said Horrid Henry. Where did you put it? I didn't put it anywhere. You had it last. No, I didn't. Didn't. Perfect Peter sat on the comfy black chair. Horrid Henry sat on the sofa. Have you seen it anywhere? Said Peter. No, said Henry. You just have to look for it, won't you? Peter eyed Henry warily. I'm waiting, said Horrid Henry. Perfect Peter didn't know what to do. If he got up from the chair to look for the remote, Henry would jump into it, and there was no way Henry would decide to watch Cooking Cuties, even though today they were showing how to make your own muesli. On the other hand, there wasn't much point sitting in the chair if he didn't have the remote. Henry sat. Peter sat. I'm actually going to leave it there. And I wonder if you can, if you haven't read it, think about what might happen next. It's going to go one of two ways, isn't it? Either Perfect Peter's going to find that remote and watch his programmes, or Horrid Henry gets his naughty way and he gets to watch programmes all the time. I know what should happen, but I wonder if it does happen. If you've got the book, then you might like to read it, might like to find out what happens. If you haven't got the book, it might be one to put on your birthday list. Okay, or when the libraries are open again, or school's got the books as well, so you can have a look for them there. Right, everyone, hope you enjoyed that, and I shall see you very soon. Bye for now.